Welcome to Out of the Blue, the podcast, a platform dedicated to celebrating inspirational stories of people from all walks of life overcoming life changing experiences who have found their way forward. I'm your host, Vernon West, and my co host for today's episode is my daughter, Jackie West, who, along with being our social media and marketing manager, is also a professional musician and Reiki healer. And I want to especially thank you, our listeners, for joining us here today and giving us your precious time and attention. We know just how valuable that is. And please remember to smash that like button and hit that subscribe button because everything helps to get the word out there. Today's guest is Meghan Johnson of Burnsville, Minnesota, a writer, artist, and advocate who has never let anything, including her cerebral palsy diagnosis at birth, define her limits. Growing up as an identical twin, Meghan was supported by teachers, therapists, and close friends who helped her recognize her potential early on. Whether she was using adaptive tech to write or finding creative ways to join in gym class, Meghan approached life with determination and humor. After high school, she returned to volunteer in the same special education program that once supported her, helping students unlock their own abilities using the strategies that worked for her. Though college sparked her interest in writing and media, she quickly realized her path wasn't a traditional one. Meghan is now focused on creating poetry and art, building a life that reflects her values of independence, authenticity, and self expression. She may not speak from a stage, but her story is a powerful form of advocacy in itself. We're honored to welcome Meghan Johnson to Out of the Blue, the podcast. Hi, Meghan, and welcome to Out of the Blue.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Welcome to Out of the Blue.
Thank you.
So, what brings you to our show with Meghan? I think I pretty much spelled it out, but I want to hear it
Yeah,
from
that
you.
was a very nice intro. Thank you for that. Um, yeah, I was always a very good student in school. My teachers were very supportive, and I had a lot of quality friendships, but also some people who wanted me to believe that I didn't belong. But those kind of just strengthened me to become better. Just the motivation to just prove all that wrong and just prove to myself that I'm capable of more than I think I am. And I just have some stories about elementary school. There was this boy who would make a weird noise at me every day, and I didn't know what that meant, so I never responded to him at all. And I'm glad I never did because I think it was at a music concert, and he comes up to me and he goes, "Oh, you can talk?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, I can talk." And that's just the way you should talk to someone who you don't think can talk either, because you don't actually know what their situation is. Like, if you're nonverbal, that's totally fine. It doesn't mean your brain is gone.
So, you overcame all that stuff in elementary school, and then
Yeah.
you built up a strong sense of your own value because people that supported you recognized that this
Yeah.
what you had, and it's important that you recognized it too.
My teachers were very good at it, pointing out my strengths, and that just made me want to do better for them, like perform better for myself and my teachers that were rooting for me.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's awesome.
Can I ask? I don't know much about cerebral palsy. Um, I would love to know more about what it is.
So what it is considered brain damage to where the signal from your legs doesn't transfer to your brain to tell your legs to walk, and it affects your muscle tone. So mine is high muscle tone, Other people can have low muscle tone, which makes them like loosey-goosey. I'm like very tight in mostly my legs. I have spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy, so that affects all four of my limbs. But my arms are more mobile than my legs. Like I have more range of motion, and my body does a lot of things that I don't want to do. What's that? I drop things a lot because I'm just like, if I'm super focused on like bringing the remote to my tray, I'll be like almost too focused on it and then I'll drop it.
You know, it's really I love seeing you laugh. You know, you're very the way you look at things is very great, great.
I need to have a good sense of humor, otherwise I think I would cry about everything.
Totally.
What were the first times when you started to feel like you were an artist? What kind of things started happening?
My favorite subject in school was always English and writing, and I was very good at it, but I just didn't love being told what to write about and having an opinion on like persuasive essays because I'm not really about like changing someone's mind. I'm about like sharing a story and helping people to like see the value in myself and themselves. Like using my stories to paint a picture of like how people can learn how to love themselves more.
Love it. I love that. When you used adaptive tech, was that something you can tell us about?
Yes, I first started in elementary school using a program called Co-Writer, and that was basically just what our phones do, our smartphones do with the word prediction. And it was just trying to make it more efficient for me to type. But the thing is that as time went on, we have all of these features in our smartphone, so it's actually a lot more efficient for me to just use that instead of like having a PCA like set up Dragon and my microphone and making sure everything is all set up.
Wow. Yeah, then that shows like that the powerful thing about iPhones.
They've come a long way, but we also have a long way to go because we know that Siri and Alexa is not always the most, they don't recognize your voice very well. And that's also what I'm doing with Cerebral Palsy Foundation. I am participating in studies to like help them with that, like figure out how to make their technology like more accessible with people like harder to understand voices like mine.
You still use it, adaptive tech for writing.
Yes.
What were the first things you came out with?
I started trying to do songwriting in 2019, and I realized that like I wasn't as good with writing songs as when I did it with just the lens of writing poetry. Like I feel like when I had the mindset of writing a song, I was like, oh, it has to flow. The cadence has to like match. But with poetry, I'm not as like strict with that. I'm just like, as long as it rhymes and it sounds nice.
I really get that. I really do.
So I know you also love music, right? That's a
Yes, as you can see, I'm a big fan of the Struts, which Lizzie from one of your previous episodes is
Yes, that's
also
right.
a big fan of them.
Lizzie Sunshine, as we call
Yes,
her.
I have their poster right here in the back of me.
I see it, the Struts. There they are.
I actually do have a story of one of the last times I went to see them and First Avenue, which is like where I get my tickets for the venue in Minnesota, um, they told me that I had to get another VIP ticket and just I have a PCA accompany me. So I had to pay like an extra $200 just because I needed assistance, like getting out of my van and like through the crowds and stuff, which is really not fair. Like I'm fine with paying for my PCA's like general admission ticket. Like obviously I'm gonna pay for that because it's something that I wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wow, that's a total inconvenience that a lot of us don't think about.
Yeah, those are the things that I'm like become used to with having a disability. Is like sometimes you have to put up with those things.
Yep, yep.
Definitely.
I definitely know that. I'll know about that. I had a
Yeah,
it takes more planning. You have to put a little bit more time and you got to be really methodical about it. And yeah, it's a lot just to do. But it's worth it though, right? When you get
yeah,
there and you,
because that's when you get like a break from all those other things that you put up with for like 2 hours of fun.
yeah, I follow you on Instagram and I see you having a lot of fun times, posting some great things.
Yes, I always make sure to have a lot of fun.
And that's very inspiring, just because when we we all go through our lives and we were talking about this the other day at another podcast we were having about how appreciation, how some people can go their whole lives without anything really major happening. And they think they're grateful. They actually feel that they are grateful. But unless something fundamentally big happens, you don't get that incredible sense of gratitude that somebody who's been through some tough experiences, they have a higher sense of gratitude. I think the other day we said it was an explosion of gratitude. So would you feel that, you know, I think that seems to be why you're smiling. You are a person that
Absolutely.
has a lot of gratitude.
It almost like helped me increase my self-worth. Because when people don't like give me that respect, I have to learn how to give it to myself.
Vernon, am I understanding this right? Like, so let's say like you're going through life and nothing really remarkable is happening. So like you would think that you're grateful for things, but um unless you like wake up to some of the remarkableness of what actually is happening in everyone's life, then the amount of gratitude can be even greater.
That's what I'm saying. I,
Okay.
I
This
definitely
is
feel that.
what
And
I kind of want to add to that
Yeah.
is when you're like stuck in a routine and everything is always relatively the same, you're gonna get stuck in that rut, like stuck in that repetitiveness. And sometimes when those monumental things happen, it will just expand your like views and like it fundamentally changes you as a person.
wow, that was perfectly said. It definitely expands your whole, explodes your gratitude. I mean, that's really what the gentleman said it on the podcast we did yesterday, and it kind of blew my mind because I really realized that my own self had that explosion of gratitude. It's like I'm not saying you can't go through life and having no big things and not get that explosion of gratitude. For example, I think the entire world, the pandemic was a huge thing that affected everyone. And I think if you really look at it, that's one of those explosive things that if you get
Yes,
through, you could have that explosion of gratitude from that alone. You don't really need to have any other thing, but if you're
and there
paying
are
attention,
certain people, they're very sick and they have to be very careful whenever they leave their homes and they don't want to get sick because that could mean like a long time in the hospital.
Right.
And I think people kind of like woke up to that.
It definitely expanded people's awareness of each other and unique experiences with being human.
And one thing I want to say, like the day program that I go to, yes, it does take a very special person to actually have the desire to want to work with people with disabilities. But at the same time, when people come here and they do it, they become part of the family. And like they experience disability in a way that they would have never experienced it without that job experience.
Such a good example. What Stephen Hawkins.
Yeah,
That's an example of someone that had he was definitely using adaptive
yeah.
tech to
And
communicate.
he had to go above and beyond just for people to like understand how smart he was.
It's a perfect example that um, you may not be, according to other people, they may call us handicapped for one reason or another. But what's going on in our heads, what we have, what we're learning is extremely valuable. And the kind of wisdom that comes out of someone who's been through the kind of things like yourself, right? People that have gone through anything like Stephen Hawkins or other, they become unbelievably important, I think, to the to development of our human race, really. I mean, you're on the, I feel like what I learned about Out of the Blue is that when I interview different people from different walks of life with different challenges or whatever it is, what you're talking about, I feel like I'm talking to war heroes on the front line
Yeah, honestly.
that I should be saying thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Because not to denigrate our warriors who go to protect our freedom and the Army and Navy, Marines, etc. But I think that we were greatly, in a way, wasting a huge resource by not paying attention to the warriors such as yourself who
Yes.
are fighting the biggest battle of all and coming out the other end of it with not only surviving, but thriving. So I think it's an amazing example of resilience but I want to hear your thoughts. How do you think about what do you think about out of the blue things? How do you think this what does it think it means? All the
I
stuff
think
that's
they're
happening.
wonderful. I think that even when it's something tragic that happens, something beautiful can always come out of it. Like, even like when a loved one dies, it's like you find little moments where they're with you and you never forget about them. When those things happen, it just like expands your mind and gives you more empathy for people that you might not even know.
There's so much we can learn. We can learn so much from each other. And I mean I'm learning so much just talking to you now. Um and it's inspiring me as well with that gratitude that I can see in your face when you talk. It's just really something very special that is beyond precious. It's something that I feel like I can't even give it words. It's hard to articulate, but it's something very special that promotes the benevolence of life itself. As tough as things can be, the love inside of a human being never dies. I mean, your love light, that's what I feel like I'm seeing with you. It's your love light.
And it's very important for me to like be what I would call an everyday advocate where I'm not gonna be like on stage in front of thousands of people because that's not who I am.
But your life is the
Yeah, I can live like by me living and like teaching people that like people with disabilities can go out, they can have fun, they can like express their ideas and opinions.
what an
Mhm.
example, what a power of example you are for that. So tell me more about some things you have done. What have you been doing lately for your expressions?
Lately, I've just been hanging out with my family. I have a nephew. He just graduated preschool,
Oh
and
boy.
it's just wonderful having him and like me being the first example of like someone who has a disability, and he's like not afraid of like my wheelchair at all. He's like he wants to know how it works. He likes the horn. He knows how to like unbuckle my like tie downs in the van. He can help me with that. He can help me like get a drink. He does all these things that he doesn't need to do because he just wants to be helpful and like he
Oh, that's
sees
beautiful.
what I'm doing all the time.
That's beautiful. That's bringing the best out of your nephew for sure. He sounds like a superstar.
And I am really proud of like the person that he's becoming just through that one little.
I heard someone, I read somewhere or something really important. You should do it slowly. Take your time. I think we're in such a rush. People are in such a hurry, and everyone's attention spans have become shorter and smaller and squished,
Yeah.
you know. So we need to open that up. We need to come
And
back to,
honestly, I think that's why generally people just don't know how to treat disabled people. Like, I've had people come up and pet me before, like a dog, or they'll grab me by the shoulder and then say, like, God bless you. I'm like, thanks, God bless you too.
Yeah. Like so random, you know?
It's like, if you want to pray for me to be healed, I guess then I just have to pray for you to be healed too.
I love it. But so
Yeah, I mean, I bet you're subject to a lot of people's projections too.
Yes. The way they perceive me is the way that they treat me.
Mm. Hmm.
And it's like I don't have to spend all my time proving it wrong.
You definitely don't.
And like, I have a very interesting sense of style. It's very colorful, very fun. I was on the bus and this lady's like, "Oh, you look so pretty. It's your birthday." I was like, "No, I'm just pretty."
Yeah.
that's really good answer
That's
there.
right.
And you certainly are. You know, so I'm hearing your story and you went through everything in your life growing up through school and dealing with those things. And then you went back to now you're helping people, you're teaching people in special education. Are you doing that now?
I did for like a year and a half, I want to say. I went back and like into the special ed room that I went in when I was doing my homework in high school. And a lot of the times I feel like some of the teachers and staff would just kind of like give them the answer or like
Mm.
point them to the answer. And I was like, no, I'm gonna teach you how to do this the way that I learned how to do this myself. And it kind of brightens up your day a little bit too. It's like I do deal with anxiety, and it's mostly just from me like having to be alone. I'm just kind of learning how to bring that peace back instead of like feeling anxious about it in my alone time. I'm pretty lucky to have like a good core group of friends that help out with that too.
You have a good bunch of friends, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so important for everybody. Your value of the people in your life is not lost. I mean, that to me, if I'm going to say one thing, I see a string connecting all the people that I've spoken to who have come from all kinds of situations. But if they have family and friends that love them and they love in their lives, I don't think it's almost like I feel bad for people who don't. Because when I was in the hospital, I was in there for a good long time, fighting for my life. And when I finally realized I was going to make it, at least that's what it looked like, after a long battle, then I started feeling like I wanted to pay it forward. And what I noticed was that there were people in the hospital that I lived at practically for almost a year, that the ones that were doing well had people in their lives. The ones who were not doing well were just alone. And I would go, I try to talk to them, but I thought maybe I could come up with a way to help them through the podcast. That's what I think this is. That's why I think you're going to be able to help others in your situation to see how you're thriving.
Yeah, and I actually want to show you. Do you know the brand Funko Pop? Like they're like the little doll like caricatures. You can make them into yourself, and they just came out with the wheelchairs. I don't know if you can see her in there.
Oh,
Is
cool. I
this
love it.
you?
Yeah, it's me.
That
This is
is
Meg.
so cool.
That's really cool.
I just think it's a cool thing that they came out with the wheelchairs too, and just to be more inclusive. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants to have their own Barbie.
And even from like I'm not totally sure the whole thing about dolls and the myths involved in like, the representation of a doll in literature, but like they are seen as intuition and magical. And so it's very meaningful in our, the history of being humans to have this symbol. It's meaningful to have a doll
Yes.
in your life, and then to be the
Think
character
it
of the doll.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's awesome. So you are definitely living a life that I think thriving. I have to say there are plenty of people out there who don't do as much, have as much fun as you do.
Yeah, and I thank you for reminding me of that as well. Because sometimes I think that like people don't view my life that way. Like seeing that you don't pity me for no reason is nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people tend to
Yeah.
write people off.
Yeah.
They judge a book by its cover. They don't open it up. They don't see what there is there. I think that's one of
Also
the
by
main
their
things.
own understanding of how like you can be useful, you know? You miss a lot in a person if you just look at like what if you just try to evaluate like how they can be useful to you.
That's one of the things that like drew me to the Struts as well. Because they have a song, it's called Freak Like You. And they have a lyric that says, we all sing from the same pages of books you can't judge by the cover.
Hmm,
So good.
that's
And
cool.
it's good to remember that no matter how different we are, no matter where we come from, we are all the same. And we deserve like the same level of respect. Like at the same time, I'm not gonna beg you to like see me as like an actual human being. I don't have to like put up with that if you're not gonna give it to me.
You're letting your light shine, Meg, and it's something that's going to bring something to the world that's unique, special, and powerful. I really think you are a powerful example of human resilience and really joy. The biggest thing that happens, I think, with gratitude is joy. You open up the channels to
And
understand.
people forgot what the word joy actually means.
I know it.
It doesn't mean that your life is sunshine and rainbows and perfect. It means that you make a choice.
Mm,
I love
choice.
that. Beautiful.
Hmm.
It's true. It's true. Joy is so powerful. But to access joy, you have to get pretty deep into life. Joy is a very deep feeling and very powerful feeling. I mean, whenever I've experienced joy, uh, it's it's something almost uncontrollable. I mean, I think the first time I experienced joy listening to music, I was a little young guy watching listened to a band for the first time, and they started singing all these big harmonies and stuff, and my eyes started making water coming out
Like
of them,
Misty, yeah.
pouring out my eyes.
Yeah.
I'm 14 years old. I'm going, what's going on here? Why am I all crying? And then I started laughing and crying at the same time. That is joy, man. It's a powerful emotion. More than an emotion, it's something spiritual.
And like one of the other things of joy is like I've had plenty of experiences where I feel like I should not be doing as well as I am. Like one time in the summer I fell down the stairs at a grad party in my chair. And there just happened to be like this huge dude right there who could save me from hitting my face on the pavement, you know? Like not many people would be able to like hoist a 300-pound wheelchair back up and make sure I'm not dead. So like that's enough reason for me to believe that like God exists, you know?
Yeah.
And I love telling people about these stories that happen to be possibly more often than they should. But it's like if I don't laugh about them, then what am I gonna do?
You got to laugh. Exactly. So that's I'm serious. That's the key to success in life, learning how to laugh.
Does that tie into the first episode with Wendy?
It kind of does.
Yeah, because she's a comedian, and I just kind of thought about like the first episode that we did with Out of the Blue is with this comedian Wendy Liebman, and um, I was just wondering if like laughter helped her heal from her um, Out of the Blue experience.
Absolutely. I can tell you right now, she says that a lot. One of the things that Wendy said was she healed at the speed of love. And I
I
find that
like
to,
that.
yeah, I find that to be very right on. I mean, you can't say it much clearer than that.
And when those things happen, you can like feel in a different way than you would have if those things never would have happened. Like I believe that you become a better person when those like negative experiences happen to you.
Becoming a better person, without a doubt.
Great to remember. Yeah.
You're saying a lot of very wise things today, Megan.
You know, I'm an old soul, yeah.
I think that's accurate. You are.
Yeah, I feel like it's not just today.
Yeah, yeah.
No, no, this
That's
is
the only reason I've been able to make it this far.
this is the stuff that you've got in your personal bank heart account that you've come from living. You know, you accumulate wisdom and you accumulate good sense of humor. Those are the things that come about if you're really paying attention and you've got that gratitude, which you have the fact that life is something else. I mean, we're all in the same boat. We're all dealing with the same thing, even if you don't know it. I mean, we're all
And
heading
it's
down
like
the.
when people say like my disability is a gift, I don't think people understand what that actually means. And it's not like, oh, I'm so grateful that this happened to me. It's like I'm grateful that it has given me like this perspective on life.
Yes. Giving it has, you're grateful that it's given you this perspective.
Yeah, 'cause like I don't think I would be the same person if I didn't have a cerebral palsy, you know?
Right.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's true. Everything contributes to who you are, and who you are is something very special. And
Yeah, I like to think so.
you are Meg, Princess Meg.
Yeah,
I think that fits you perfectly.
I like being her. She's cool.
And before we say bye, I just want to remind anybody that if you, I'm going to put some links for Megan after this at the end of the show, this so you can check out Megan's Instagram. You want to truly be surprised and not just surprised, but inspired. I mean, and if you want to see someone living life follow Meghan on Instagram, Meghan the Princess. You will be inspired. And I just want to say thank you so much, Meghan. You've brought us like a lot of sunshine, just like your friend Lizzie. You brought a lot of
Yes, of
sunshine
course.
to our lives. And I think you will do so to all those listeners out there who will be tuning in to hear Meghan the Princess, Princess Meg, and tell us all about the inspirational things that make her smile. So infectious. You have a very infectious smile, Meghan. And
It
I
got
hope
me in
that
the news article.
yeah, there you go. There it is. And whenever you see that smile, it lights the room up. It's a very wonderful smile. And I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. And like I said, you're in the Out of the Blue family, Meghan. For better or for worse, we're in your life.
No, I'd rather
For
be.
mostly better. We're going to bring lots of more sunshine to each other's lives. That's what it's about,
We need that. We
right?
need more sunshine in here.
We
That's
do.
right, Megan. We need more sunshine. So, love to you, Megan. Much gratitude, and thank you for joining.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us
you
Thank
on
you
so
so
Out
much.
of
much
the
for
Blue.
having
Great
me
to meet
today.
you.
It was so nice to meet you guys.
Okay, so let's say bye to our viewers. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for
Bye.
joining us, and we'll see
Thank
you next
you.
time on Out of the Blue, the podcast. Out of the Blue, the podcast, hosted by me, Vernon West, co-hosted by Jacqueline West, edited by Joe Gallo, music and logo by Vernon West III. Have an Out of the Blue story of your own you'd like to share? Reach us at info@outoftheblue-thepodcast.org. Subscribe to Out of the Blue on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and on our website, outoftheblue-thepodcast.org. You can also check us out on Patreon for exclusive content.